Just going to walk through the whole thing now, Em. The whole thing is on the maps as a graveyard, you see. So we're going to walk the whole thing and look for mounds. Corrugated, is it?
Yeah.
No. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. So either the hollows are the graves or the mounds are mounded graves. Okay. Look up to 10 rows more. Could even be lighter, or what? Oh, and there's a mound over here. Look. Oh. You're over there. This looks like a mound. About 60 years. Coppiced. So I don't know, is this the grave? Or if the mound in between the hollows are the graves. But it's a real corrugated landscape. Yeah, brilliant. They could be tree boles or vegetation, but like that lad there, they could be graves as well though. The northern end, there's more coppice deciduous trees. Oh, there's an iron cross. Not sure if this consider this corrugated or not, but no, it's more broken. If you count your tree rings in groups of 10, it's easier. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, that fella's going up 80, more than 80 years. Look at that for a coppice. Alright, so there. That's 100 years of coppicing, if not more. Fabulous iron cross here. Johannes Wheelback. Fab. Not seen much from there. The celandines, no. Just check the northwest corner, see if it's corrugated. There's hollows. I'm not seeing a lot of order. Break a slope there. I'm not seeing the north-south corrugations that we saw elsewhere. Oh, there's something over here. Could be a pathway. Wood anemones, little creamy ones. Like that tree is as old. Yeah, he could be potentially one of the primary trees in the churchyard. There's undulations there, but it's not as strongly corrugated as up there. Alright, so one would expect that there's mass common graves connected with the cholera, as well as single burials throughout. And the mass common graves then, if they're overwhelmed, yeah, they're potentially here in the centre part. Go in through the corrugated area now, from the north side. It's not as strongly patterned, so I think that means the patterning, the corrugation is in there. Might be running down here. There's a real hollow there. There's a hollow there. Otherwise you're into the corrugation up here in this section, and it's running right down to here. Look at that. I'll go down to the southern bit and then I'm done. Yeah. I got all them, yeah. Like that's the strongest as well as the first bits. So hollow in there. Fuma tree, is it? So there's definite hollows here. And there's linearity here. I'm not sure if the mounds are tree mounds or if they're burial mounds. We're in a real hollow here now, underfoot. Yeah, there's a linearity there. So there's rounder mounds there, and then there's kind of linear low ridges. And then regular hollows. So is that tied in with trees or is it tied in with graves? Can't tell. Vegetation is so low, geophys will work a treat here. All over. Yeah. So kind of a moonscape here now. Linear ridges. Are we seeing different grave cells of different cuts but interconnected? I'm not convinced about down here. That hollow there, he's not bad, he's very strong, but just because they're strong hollows doesn't mean they're graves. There's definitely a lot of shape here. Alright, so first impressions. I don't know why the burial ground is up there, but we have burials over there. I think there's potentially graves all over. And that those strong ridges in the middle that Martha saw. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So where am I now? More wood anemones. They're out a couple of weeks now in Ireland. Oh, look at these beautiful little things. What are they? It's all little there now. Look at that. I don't know. Are we seeing gardening? Landscape management? The strongest is up here in the middle. Up in the middle. Those ridges, and then on the right there. Up towards that mature tree. They're the strongest in terms of potential mounded cholera graves, if they are here. So here on the left there's definite ridges, north south and here, and then the strongest ones are over here on the highest ground, just there and there, and that goes down that side then as well. So depends on the volume of people dying, and then if there was a high volume, then they could have gone for common graves, shared graves, non-family graves. So Kolerakyrkogarden, the Cholera churchyard, I think is how it translates in English. Great big space. No signage. There's a sign over coming in that's very worn and things, so I think it's very much a lived in space rather than they're not mad into their heritage for it. So it's got potential for sharing more information. So this high bit here and that high bit over there I think are the best bits, potentially for having graves in, mass common graves anyway. In this suburban capital city graveyard, burial ground, Slonish. Okay, we came back up to look at the map, and it's faint and it's just written on, but there is an early map here, and it's showing the gravedigger's house there. One sec now, I'll do this better. Showing the gravedigger's house there, that's the garden, and it's showing a long cholera grave there. So that's centre of the south, I think. And then there's a big area down here back behind me to the right. There. That's all cholera. And then in the middle, down by the Iron Cross, there's 2 trench graves apparently, and then there's smaller ones there. You can't read that there. Polity graves, so public graves. There's a grave here. So I'm just going to go down and have a look. I'll go down by the Iron Cross. I'll go down here and have a look at this. I could show this whole area down here for cholera graves. So it's got the mature trees in it. Yeah, where all those blue flowers are. So this area here was some kind of general cholera burial area. Potentially single graves. People always prefer to bury, well, where I come from anyway, they prefer to bury their own family. So we could be seeing that in here rather than a trench grave. And then somewhere over here at the cross, they showed trench graves. Is there a bit of a ridge there? Oh, that's the break of slope I was talking about. So the question is, instead of a break of slope, could we be looking at a linear mound and then a ridge? So that historic map was interesting. I've seen it online somewhere. It wasn't in very high detail, but it's there, alright. So look, there's a definite break of slope all along here. So that's potentially down here below the break of slope. Could there be a grave there? It showed 2 in here. I think the trick would be to see, is there LiDAR for this area. Very mature coppice there. Break a slope down there. And he's there then. It could be, I thought there was 2 were drawn in here. Somewhere in here. Just because it's drawn on the map doesn't mean it's the only graves that are there, because you can have multiples. But certainly that map is interesting. I guess the thing to do is you come in with an open mind and you've got to look for potential case examples that are on the maps, and then others that you can potentially read from the landscape. If you're lucky, they're just a single strong case, but if not, there's multiples. And you gotta go with the map too. You gotta trust the map. I had looked at that map before visiting, but it was in such low res on the web. I just couldn't make sense of it, where it was easier there when it was blown up. So the northern end, it looks like the early cholera graves were here and down here. But what we've also learned elsewhere is you can also have local authorities doing mass common burials even outside periods of overwhelm. Sometimes it's just what they do to manage the issue of local authority funded burials. Paupers, they're called in some areas. Just generally the people who aren't claimed by their family to bury themselves. Certainly looks like the flowers are picking out one of the early cholera grave areas anyway. So city centre is down that way now, so we're going to head back there on the metro. Well worth a visit, and we'll try and work out more about this place. Get a historian looking at it. Okay, slán.